Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about the latest from Avatar Dance Devil Dance, out February 17th on Black Waltz 30 Tigers. This album has 11 tracks, 41 minutes in length, and this is the band's 10th full-length studio album. They are a Swedish metal band. The design of this record didn't surprise me. It doesn't offer anything new as far as Avatar goes. It's a dynamic record, it's a fluid record, very engaging, offering a lot of versatility from song to song and within songs themselves, but still feeling very balanced. You never lose track of the fact that you're listening to an Avatar record. All the nuances, all the ebbs and flows, you've become so accustomed to them that you almost glazed over, and allows the album to still feel very compact, taking the strength of the individual songs and infusing that strength into the overall collective that it is this record. As far as sound is concerned, I think you have to talk about guitars first and foremost. They are the main protagonist of the overall sound experience of this record. This is a record that, from a guitar sound and a production point of view, it feels very raw, it feels very organic, almost like a live studio album, which allows the guitars to be a little bit more in the forefront and not overly polished. They sound a little bit more gritty, they have a lot more thickness to them, and therefore creating volume and also heaviness in the overall perspective of the album. This is not to say that the album is not going to have more melodic moments, because it does. It also has some more groovier moments within songs, but overall the experience that you get at the end of the record is one of an album that's very thick and very heavy consistently from start to finish. And that heaviness really starts off with the guitars, and more often than not it also ends with the guitars. Now the drums play an important role in order to make that thickness, make that volume a little bit more noticeable throughout the entire album. But this is not a record that you can see the drums taking control of a single song. They play an important role, but not the protagonist of the story. The protagonist of the story is really the guitar sound. I enjoy the production behind the guitar sound. I enjoy the overall experience that they gave this album. It feels almost like a more stripped down record without being a stripped down record. It's just that the organic experience that you get out of that sound, out of those guitars, really allow you to feel differently towards this album. It not only feels a little bit more gritty, like I said, a little bit more groovier at times, but it also infuses a different kind of darkness to the overall atmosphere of the record and to the experience of the sound itself. This is definitely a guitar-centric album, not to say that the previous records weren't, but the sound on this album, from a pure guitar standpoint, it sounds very different from what we've heard before from Avatar. Like I said, feeling almost no frills, a little bit more rock and roll, a little bit more stripped down, and then infusing that natural sound that comes from a live performance into the studio, allowing those guitars to pop a lot throughout the entire record. As far as vocals are concerned, it's exactly what you would come to expect from an Avatar record. And from that point of view, when you have diversity of sound, when you definitely have a change as far as the paradigm surrounding the guitar experience is concerned, having a sense of consistency vocally from start to finish allows the record to be more robust. It also allows the record to be more connected. It's definitely that red line that brings you across all these 11 tracks. The dynamics with the vocals, the changing between cleans and harshers or scream vocals, all of that we've come to expect from Avatar, it's present on this album. And it's nice to have a record that sound-wise feels very different from its predecessors, but vocally stays exactly on the same path. So you're able to digest the differences a lot better, because at least the vocal perspective of the record brings you to a very familiar place. This allows this album to be different, to be unique, not to be the same record revisit. It does have that sense of thickness, it has that sense of heaviness, it has that grooviness that underlines the experience, but this is an album that sets the tone for what this band is live, and now bringing that experience to the studio and not trying to do too much in order to make the sound absolutely perfect. Sometimes you need that grit out of your guitars and the heaviness out of your drums in order for you to feel the energy of Avatar, the energy that you feel during one of their live performances. You're gonna feel it on this record. If you are more of a fan of more a polished product like Avatar Country, very polished product there, this album is going to feel a little bit unnatural to you. but I really enjoy the sound. I really enjoy the experience. Like I said, I felt like I was listening to a live album recorded in the studio, and I'm a huge fan of Avatar live. So anytime you can transport that experience to the studio, I think it's a winning formula. As far as favorite songs are concerned, I want to start off with Chimp Mosh Pit. Heavy rock guitar sound all around with this track, very groovy. This song is groovy but still has a bite. The vocals melodically help the grooviness of the guitars, the grooviness of the sound coming into the forefront. It creates this bouncy experience, not just in the sound but in the vocals and in how the two elements coordinate with one another. This allows the track to still have diversity of sound, diversity of experience. It's not linear in its movements, and it gives a lot of energy to how you're going to process this song and how you're going to find your way through it. It's a rock track turned 211. And the grooviness is what that 11 does to it. It changes a little bit of that rock ambiance that's perhaps a little bit more linear into more of a groove arena, making the track all around feel very complete as far as how the vocals interact with that same grooviness of the guitars and sound. Next we have Gotta Wanna Riot. This is a fun song. This is your prototypical fun Avatar song, a little bit of an anthem, if you will, with a lot of key elements that are going to work really well in a live setting. It has power, it has thickness, not as groovy as the predecessor, as Chimp Mosh Pit, definitely not as groovy, a little bit more direct in its mechanisms, more direct in its sound and how it comes across, but it still have great elements to it. Maybe a little bit more of a punk rock song in the design, in the structure, and how the guitars come across, how the bass comes across, and obviously how the vocals interact with that as well. Moving into more of an intense chorus. The chorus is really hooky, super catchy. The vocals help define that, and I really love the bass in the background of this track, creating a very nice line that pops in and it pops out, it pops in, it pops out, but it creates movement, and where the guitars don't have grooviness, the bass does add a little bit, but overall more, like I said, of a punk rock song with a great chorus, an invitation in that chorus for the fans to sing along. Like I said, your prototypical Avatar anthem, if you will. Last but not least, another Avatar anthem in Hazmat Suit. This one has a little bit more of a wall of sound. It feels more compact. The vocals are leading the charge, but sound-wise, the song feels very together. There's really not a lot of gaps in them. Still a little bit of an anthem of a track, specifically once you get into the chorus. Once again, that prototypical Avatar song that in a live setting makes everybody want to sing along. This track has a lot of those elements as well. It has that Avatar style battle hymn. I wouldn't call it a battle hymn, I would call it more a party hymn, if you will, circus hymn, whatever your mood is when you're listening to Avatar. And I feel like that is a very unique characteristic to the band, that they infused it perhaps a little bit more on this record in certain songs in order to bring that live experience into the actual functioning of the song, not just creating the sound experience that reminds you of that live experience. So bringing the verses into this track into a different arena, the verses of this song felt almost a little bit Volbeatish, but it works well because it adds to that anthem, it adds to that party move that the song has, a very rockabilly approach at times in the verses, and then the chorus is a lot bigger, a lot more intense, a lot more memorable, because it's easy to remember, it's easy to sing along. It's a track that's going to really invite you to sing with it due to its simplicity of its chorus and how much of an earworm it becomes. Gotta Wanna Riot and Hazmat Suit are two great live songs that fall in line with the Avatar theme when it comes to a live performance, which is always not just playing to the fans but engaging with the audience. These two songs have great elements that allow you to really connect and have that synergy between band and fans. I would be extremely surprised if these tracks don't make it to their live set. This is it, Avatar Dance Devil Dance, out February 17 on Black Waltz, 30 Tigers. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'm going to be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.